Foundation Radio is brought to you by 10th Ward Barbershop, a full-service barbershop offering high-quality haircuts, beard trims, and hot shaves. 10th Ward Barbershop proudly serves the historic Lawrenceville 10th Ward and surrounding Pittsburgh areas. Adam frequents 10th Ward Barbershop when he swings through the area and loves Ryan Kane's laser-sharp precision on both his hair and beard needs. But you don't have to take his word for it. WWE superstars Finn Balor and Corey Graves frequent 10th Ward Barbershop for their hair and beard needs. The team at 10th Ward accepts walk-ins, but schedules fill up quickly, so the best way to see them is to make an appointment at 10thwardbarbershop.com. That's 10thwardbarbershop.com. Make sure to grab some Silk Panther hair products in-shop or online while you're there. Schedule your appointment today to see Kane, Jordan, and the rest of the team at 10th Ward Barbershop today, and we thank them for sponsoring the program.
This is Mark Briscoe, and you listening to Foundation Radio.
Peace world and welcome back to Foundation Radio. My name is Adam Barnard. Thank you so much for joining me again today. My guest is the current Ring of Honor champion. He is a 13-time Ring of Honor tag team champion and a member of the Conglomeration. Mark Briscoe, thank you so much for your time, sir. How are you?
Good. What's up, Adam? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, living the dream here. It's always a sunny day here in Philadelphia. Glad for your time. I appreciate you stopping by and chatting with me. First, I wanted to jump into real fast the Ring of Honor Championship. I know this is your first Ring of Honor singles title. What was that moment like winning the title for you? You know, you're the second Briscoe to hold that title. What did that moment mean for you?
Man, it was, I think sometimes people throw around the word, special, like special moments. Oh, that was so special. This was a legit special moment. It was a legit, it's just how everything lined up, 11 years to the day of when my brother won the title in the city of Philadelphia, where Ring of Honor started. Just, you know what I mean? The biggest wrestling weekend of the year. And, that to be so close to home. So I got dozens of friends and family that just drove 2 hours up the road. And it was a really cool. It was a once in a lifetime moment. And it's something that I always cherish,
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that I read recently too, that Eddie Kingston specifically asked for you as his opponent. What does that mean for you overall, for him to be like, yeah, I want Mark Briscoe to be the guy. I want him basically anointing you as the next guy. What did that mean for you?
I mean, just we've been knowing Kingston for years and years now. So, and he came up in Philly too. He's a New York guy, but he really made his mark, in my opinion. Chikara was his kind of where he cut his teeth, which is a Philadelphia promotion. So just knowing Eddie for so long and being real close with Eddie for so long, is just like, I wouldn't expect nothing else from Eddie, but it's still, when it happens, it's like, wow, it just confirms, man, this is a cool ass dude, man. It's my boy here. But it's just really, he's actually the one who realized and who noticed that it was 11 years to the day of when my brother won it. He brought that to my attention. I was like, no way. Exactly the same day. And I mean, it's the same, so it's the same weekend, because Jay won it in New York on Supercard weekend. And then 11 years to the day, I won it in Philly. And it was just, yeah, man. Like I said, I ain't got enough good things to say about Eddie, and I wouldn't expect nothing less from him. He's just the last of a dying breed, as he says.
He certainly is, and it's really cool. Like I said, knowing that context and having that information, it's cool that he was able to make that happen for you. I read also today during the prep for this conversation that Chris Jericho has officially challenged you for a rematch for the Ring of Honor title on Dynamite this Wednesday coming up. How confident are you in defeating Chris Jericho again for a second time? And what are you planning to do in this rematch coming up?
Well, see, Jericho, he just don't know when to shut up, man. He don't know when to quit running his mouth. And I know he's made a career of recreating himself and reinventing himself in all these different personas and all these different characters. Well, his new character is going to be the guy that gets his ass whooped by Mark Briscoe on a damn near weekly or bi-weekly basis, because he just don't know when to shut up, man. And he's real slick with it. What they call it, passive aggressive. He'll say something like, "I'm going to be a 2-time Ring of Honor champion, just like Jay Briscoe." Yeah, okay. If you should so happen to win, then okay, I get it. You will be a 2-time Ring of Honor champion, just like Jay Briscoe. But the shittiness that it just comes forth, it just comes from a shitty place. And it's like, man, you really, you barking up the wrong tree, man. You really, you playing with fire. And like, to me, it's not even about the title on Wednesday. Cause I think I proved my point in a one-on-one wrestling match at Wrestle Dream. Even when his boys tried to get involved, I had my back up, but I beat him, pinned him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. But now he just wants to keep running his mouth. I think he's just trying his best to stay relevant. But I'm the wrong one. I'm the wrong one. You understand what I'm saying? I'm the wrong one. I'm not the one that you want to do that with, because I'll put you out of the game, man. This will be your swan song, man. This will be it for you. You might not be able to get up and walk for a couple of days. Like, I'm the wrong one, man. Like, I'm a violent individual. Me and my brother, we came into this game with just blinders, where it's just violence. It's just all that we want to do, all that we're good at. It's just hurting people. It's not doing fancy flips and acrobatic. It's just hurting people and just the intensity and just going hard. And so Chris Jericho made a big mistake, man. And I mean, this might very well be it for him. This might be the end of his long, luxurious career, just because he don't know when to shut his mouth. But I got nothing but confidence. I got nothing. I almost feel like I just got to be able to not get too out of control with my emotions, because the way that I want what I want to do to him and how I want to hurt him, just because he don't know when to shut up. I'm telling you, man, it's definitely going to be one that nobody wants to miss this Wednesday night on Dynamite.
I was just going to say, it's going to be this Wednesday, AEW Dynamite, 8 p.m. Eastern start. Check your local listings to make sure you check it out. Listen, I remember the dog collar match with FTR. I know how violent you guys can get, and I can't imagine what's in store for Chris Jericho coming up on Wednesday. But speaking of the FTR Trilogy, it's one of my favorite sets of matches I think I've ever watched. And knowing that, and also the impact that it had on tag team wrestling in general, what did those matches mean to you? And specifically the dog collar match that happened at the end of 2022. What did that match mean to you?
Man, the trilogy with FTR is something that I don't think is going to stand on its own for eternity, man. It's like there will never be anything else like it. It was like me and Jay were thankful to be with Ring of Honor in the 2010s, because they really took us as family men, as fathers and husbands. We really got financially secure working for Ring of Honor when Sinclair Broadcasting owned the company. And it was such a necessary season and such a necessary step in our lives, just as family men, because we needed to get a little bit of financial footing, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, we were, it's almost like we were caged in, we were locked in, because we were exclusive Ring of Honor, and we couldn't really dabble here and there. We got to do some New Japan stuff because Ring of Honor was working with New Japan with a working agreement or whatever. But then and then somehow we snuck out and we wrestled the Hardy Boys down in Omega, which was, I don't know how we pulled that off. I think there was a little bit of strategic wording of when we kind of brought it up to the brass at Sinclair. Yeah. But either way, it was like that. Basically, that whole decade were locked down as far as where we can go and who we can wrestle. And then the minute that it becomes a thing where the cage doors open again. We can go here, there, and we can go elsewhere. Then it's like, man, one of the first things that started to materialize is like the universe just started to materialize. It was FTR. Dax called out Briscoe's on his Twitter page, and from there it just is like one thing after another after another. It's still like, oh, this is never going to happen. This is still so far out of the realm of a possibility. It's a dream match, yes, but
sure,
it's not never really going to happen. And then it's the Briscoes versus the Kingdom at Final Battle back in 2021, and you know, we tore the house down with them boys like we normally do, but it was kind of like we all thought that it was Ring of Honor's farewell. But then the lights go out after the match, the lights come back on, and there's Dax and Cash. And it's like, what the hell? You know, I've never even, like, I didn't even know, like, there they are. It's like, what the, well, you know, what's going on here? Who's pulling the strings? Who made this happen? And then it's like, from there, it's still like, you know, it's still not, it's like, would this match ever happen? Probably not. But then it's like, Tony Khan buys Ring of Honor. It's like, what? Like, and then next thing you know is that the first match at the Dallas Supercard weekend is scheduled, and it's really going to happen. And then it happens. And like after the match, it was like I said it before, it was like a dream, man. It was like, it wasn't even real. It was like, did that just happen? Like, how was that? It just was like the weirdest feeling. But then match 2 happened, which was the 2 out of 3 falls, which happened on short notice. It was like a week's notice. But then same thing. It was like a 40-minute match. And I swear to you, in 24 years of wrestling, I've never been so sore after a match for multiple days moving forward than that daggone 2 out of 3 falls. Believe it or not, even more so than the dog collar match. Now, you know, really? Yeah, believe it or not, man. I don't know what I don't know why, but I mean, maybe just because it was 40, 45-minute match, and I don't know, but man, I was hurting. But yeah, then the dog collar match just is also kind of on short notice, but it's just like a dog collar match, just like out of nowhere, and it's like, what the heck? And then the dog collar match happens, and I remember we win the match, and I never forget how my brother hugged me after that match when, you know, winner of the match, Briscoe, and we're all celebrating. I turned, and he gave me the biggest bear hug, the realest hug. I was like, I don't know, it's just, I always remember that just because, you know, we've been tag teaming for so long, and we've been brothers for even longer, and just, I don't know, that hug was something about it, man. But that whole trilogy, and now the relationship that I had with those guys, and just everything about that was just, I mean, it was unreal, and it couldn't have gone any different, couldn't have gone any better.
That's amazing, man. That's a wonderful story.
I think I got a kid out.
Yeah, you're good. You're good, man.
Murph, what are you doing, man? You're not supposed to be out there. Big Murph, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on?
Hey,
what's
Murph,
happening, bud? What's up, buddy? How you doing? I have 4 kids too, so I get it. I'm always at the door beating when I'm talking. I'm like, guys, give me 10 minutes. I promise.
Now Murph, my wife was pregnant with Murph for that first FTR match.
Wow.
Now that was the end of May, had to be the end of May 2022. In April, he was due in July. So we had the match in May. In April, and now keep in mind, we were also moving into this house where we live now. We just moved out of where we were in Delaware, literally 600 yards into Maryland, where we are. Wow. So I mean, it's just a crazy, stressful time. She's pregnant, and then she had a placenta previa, which is a condition,
man.
Placenta, dude. And she starts hemorrhaging and stuff. So she spent from like April to June. She spent the majority of that time at the hospital because she was hemorrhaging, and he came June 9th, which was like a month and a half early. So I mean, it was just a crazy, stressful time. But that's when our matches started. The whole feud really got going, and then July, shortly after he was born, that's when we had the 2 out of 3 falls. But I mean, it was just I remember there were even some articles people had put up because we had to miss a GCW and a PWG show on the same weekend because on the way to the event, Britt calls me and she's like, "I'm bleeding. You guys, like, I don't know what to do." And I think I called Brett Lauderdale. I was like, man, the wife's pregnant. Well, she already knew that. I was like, man, she's having some complications and whatnot. And so yeah, we missed those two shows and we actually canceled all the indie dates because it was such a touchy situation of when he was gonna, like, they might have had an emergency C-section anytime, which is what they had to do.
Scary. That's scary as hell. Man.
But it was such a crazy that was.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. It must have been just incredibly stressful. I know how some situations with my wife, when we had our second, she hasn't got a heart condition. And it was like every day was touch and go for like the last trimester. It was horrible, man. And same thing at my job. You know, I'm like, hey, I have to go to this appointment. I have to go here. I got to drive her because she's not allowed to drive. Yes. And then it's like, oh, is it preeclampsia? Yes. Is it this? It's like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I'm glad.
I feel for you, man.
Listen, man, I go through the same things, but I have a couple more questions for you here. I wanted to talk to you about challenging for the AEW Continental Championship. I know that you challenged Okada for that title at All Out, and I wanted to know if there was potentially another attempt for you in the works for that title.
Hey, I think that would look real good. That Ring of Honor title here, that Continental title here. That's a heck of a darn good question because that needs to be more of a talking point because I think that needs to happen, man. Season is coming up. That's Thanksgiving Eve that's the start of the Continental Classic, and with Okada being the current Continental champion, he's the focal point. He's the target. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like the Continental Classic last year was, in a way, in my singles career, it was almost like a coming out party. It was like I got a chance to wrestle 4 guys in my block. So it was just like, I don't think anybody knew what I could do in singles competition. And I didn't really make out too well in the wins and the losses. But I learned, so I didn't lose. I learned. I'm either going to win or I'm going to learn. Ain't no losing. You understand? That's right. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to hopefully being in the Continental Classic this year. But one way or the other, I would love to take on Okada, and I would love to have Ring of Honor strap here, Continental title here. I think that would look good on me.
I agree. I hope we see that. I hope we see, if you will indulge me for a second, Marquee double belts. I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, you can use that if you want to. I'm just saying, put a little spice on it. I appreciate it. It's free for you, sir.
I appreciate that.
Hey, listen, man, I'm here to help. 2 more questions for you here. I want to talk briefly about the Conglomeration. I know that's you, Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Willow Nightingale, and Rocky Romero. It always just looks like y'all are just having the best time together. How much fun are y'all having together? And how much do you help each other elevate, either in your respective matches or just in your careers in general?
Yeah, well, just the quickest, slightest correction.
Sure.
Let's not forget Big Tom Tomohiro.
Oh, yes.
We're awaiting his return, but we understand that he's got to be in the land of the rising sun, which is where he lays his head for sleep at night. But when he will always be a conglomerator. He will always be part of the crew. And Baby J Briscoe has also been officially inducted into the Conglomeration. But it's really cool, man, because it was the most spontaneous thing ever. We had no idea going into the match. It was I want to say it was Roderick Strong, Kyle Fletcher, and Roosh, I think it was, against Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy. Just a random all-star 6-man tag. We weren't the Conglomeration at this point. We had never even teamed up before, but they put the camera on us, and Willow was with us chilling, and they put the camera on us before the match, and they said, "Can y'all say a few words?" And so we got to saying a few words, and we just ended up, I think the word of the day that day just so happened to be Conglomeration. You're looking at this conglomeration of individuals that, the stars have aligned, and now we all teaming up. And then it just went from there. People really dug it, and people, some people thought it was funny. Some people got all hyped up about it. But the next week they wanted it. They wanted some more. They wanted some more conglomeration. So time just continued to flow as it does, and we all just kind of came together. And it's kind of weird looking at how we didn't plan it, but it was like we all were looking for each other, even though we didn't know it. Because I was part of the Briscoe brothers, you know what I mean? Orange Cassidy, part of the best friends, Kyle O'Reilly, part of the Undisputed Kingdom per se, and then Willow was kind of with the best friends. Like we were all, for one reason or another, we were all disassociated with our previous groups, and then we all just found each other like naturally, spontaneously, organically, and now we're like the island of misfit toys. You know what I mean? It's like, just as long as you ain't a shithead and as long as you down to conglomerate, hey, you are more than welcome to conglomerate. You know what I mean? So it's just a really cool. It just feels really good. I remember Kyle said one time he said, man, these conglomeration tag matches, that's the feel good jam in the summer. I said, yeah, man, that's exactly what it is.
That's right. It reminded me a lot of, it's a throwback reference. It reminded me a lot of the Gangstonators, New Jack and Cronus from the ECW days. You look at everybody together, like, how is this going to work? And then you see them together, you're like, oh wait, yeah, this works really well. Like, not only does it work, but it clicks and it works really well. So I'm really, really enjoying what you guys are doing. My last question for you, Mark, and again, I appreciate your time, sir, and appreciate you being here. What do you think the Briscoe legacy will be when you're ready to retire? You're ready to step away from the game. What do you think that Briscoe legacy is going to be?
Well, I like to think that I like to think of this current. I like to think of this current phase of my career as like my career 2.0. I feel like from May 20th, 2000 up until, January 17th, 2023, the Briscoe brothers, we started as a 15 and 16-year-old brother tag team in Wilmington, Delaware, who everybody thought, I remember they said, you remember Kurgan? Remember,
yeah.
They said we look like anorexic Kurgans out there. But it was just
terrible.
Like we started all the way at the bottom. And we I ain't trying to not trying to toot my own horn or toot our own horn, but we started at the bottom and we grinded, man. We grinded. We didn't have any multi-millionaire corporations backing us. Like we made our names, and then now here we are all these years later. It's like everybody who knows about wrestling in the 2000s, who really knows what they're talking about, knows that the Briscoe brothers could get down with anybody in any type of match. If we're talking athletic, spot fest, we're talking hardcore death match, bleeding ladder match, whatever it may be. We could do it all, man. There was no style that was out of our range. We had, in my opinion, and like I said, I'm trying to say this with as much humility as I can, had more range than any tag team in the history of professional wrestling. from being able to put on technical tag team masterpieces, if you will, to bloody, violent wars. I feel like we was able to cover those bases better than anybody else could. And it's crazy how we never, as a unit, we never made it mainstream because of different circumstances and different situations. But really, when Tony bought Ring of Honor, that was the closest that we ever were to that national spotlight, that national stage. And we were blessed to have 3 matches right on the cusp of the national stage. And those were the 3 FTR matches. And look how they turned out. And I'm just like, just guessing here, but I think that if we had, as a unit, been on that national stage for an extended period of time, then I think that there would have been a lot of matches and a lot of things that happened that people would have enjoyed very much like the FTR thing. But now that it's I'm doing the singles thing, I'm flying solo, but I'm not, because I always got Jay right here with me, and it's almost like I'm incorporating more and more of his style. I feel like just naturally, it's like more of that's coming out, more of the intensity, more of the just Jay Briscoe, just killer instinct. But now it's just like, now that I do have this stage, this national stage, I want to put it in a nutshell. I want to do good enough, and I want people to say, man, I enjoy this guy so much that they go back and look up the Briscoe brothers stuff. Because as good as I might ever be, I don't ever think that I'll be as good as Jay Briscoe was. I think Jay Briscoe was the most believable, credible professional wrestler maybe ever. I mean, there's guys that you could put on that level, but for somebody that he really makes me think this is real, and he's really trying to hurt the other dude, and there's nothing that's play about this. There's nothing that's not legit about this when you look at Jay Briscoe. And that's just something that I can try my best, and sometimes I can do it with a good deal of success, but I can never do it on the level that he could. Now he ain't as entertaining as me. He can't make people, that's what my dad used to tell us. He'd be like, man, shit, Jay, he's the baddest man in professional wrestling. And he's like, Chicky, you might be the most entertaining man in professional wrestling, but Jay is like, and so yeah, I just wanted to do my thing now so that people will look back and do their research and see how good the Briscoe brothers were. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the team. You know what I mean? And I would really, when there's Hall of Fames and there's different whatever, like, I don't know, man. I feel like the Briscoe brothers, the tag team of the Briscoe brothers, I feel like could hold their own with anybody from any era of professional wrestling. And that's just my own humble opinion. I don't mean to sound like a pompous dickhead, but I think that
not at all. Not at all. Yeah. You know what? I honestly, I'd have to agree with that. Just like I never missed a Briscoe brothers match, I have not missed a Mark Briscoe match. So you are well on your way, sir. I appreciate all of the work that you're putting in, and I'm looking forward to watching you kick Chris Jericho's ass this Wednesday. AEW Dynamite. Mark Briscoe will be defending the Ring of Honor Championship against Chris Jericho this Wednesday, 8 p.m. on TBS. Check your local listings and make sure you get that. Mark Briscoe, I want to thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again.
Adam, you the man. Thank you, brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother. Peace, guys!